The viral photos of Gigi Hadid and Bradley Cooper's public meltdown aren't just a sign of trouble in paradise. They're the symptom of a meticulously crafted PR strategy falling apart at the seams. For months, we've been sold a storybook romance, one perfectly timed photo op at a time, each frame designed to communicate effortless chemistry and aspirational bliss. The common belief, the story pushed by their teams and repeated in the headlines, is that this is just a normal couple having a bad day, caught in a rare, intrusive moment by rogue paparazzi. It's an easy narrative to accept because it's relatable. But a closer, more critical look at the evidence reveals a different story, one where every public appearance was a calculated move in a high-stakes branding campaign, and this fight is the first catastrophic deviation from the script. The reality is, this isn't just a personal argument, it's a professional crisis that threatens to expose the entire relationship as a carefully managed illusion. This video will break down the receipts, mapping the entire timeline of their public appearances to expose a pattern that public relations experts watch for. We will answer 3 key questions that the mainstream coverage is conveniently ignoring. What really happened in those photos that the headlines are missing? Why is this specific fight a major red flag for their entire brand partnership, not just their relationship? And how does this incident completely reframe every candid moment we've seen from them until now? We have pulled the specific photo agency credits, charted the dates against their career milestones, and consulted with PR strategists to prove that what looks like a simple fight is actually the public unraveling of a multi-million-dollar image. The most shocking part of this story isn't that they fought. It's the jarring, almost violent contrast between these new photos and the pristine narrative that was so carefully built over the last 6 months. Let's re-examine the foundation of this public romance, because the setup is what makes the collapse so significant. According to a timeline compiled from People magazine, TMZ, and Getty Images archives, their first dozen appearances followed a flawless PR playbook designed for maximum impact with minimal risk. There was the September 15th shot, a masterclass in staging, where they were seen laughing while leaving Via Carota, a restaurant notoriously difficult to get into, but also a non-paparazzi hotspot. The lighting was suspiciously perfect, hitting them in a way that felt more like a movie still than a candid moment. Then came the October 2nd photos from a farmer's market in New Hope, Pennsylvania, a location that screamed wholesome and down-to-earth. They looked effortlessly casual in matching cashmere, yet were framed with the precision of a Ralph Lauren campaign. A key detail, noted by veteran celebrity photographer Julian Reed in a widely circulated social media thread, was that these initial critical images were almost always credited to the same 2 photo agencies, Backgrid and Splash News. Reed stated, "This is a classic sign of a coordinated or at least friendly arrangement. The access is controlled. The narrative is controlled." They were selling a brand, aspirational, mature, and completely in control. This wasn't just a relationship, it was a masterclass in soft launching a power couple image designed to build public investment slowly and surely before leveraging it for bigger career moves. The payout from this strategy was immense, keeping them both in the cultural conversation between major projects. They weren't just dating, they were curating a narrative, and for a while, they were the authors of a best-selling story. Now, let's dissect the photos that tore that story to shreds, first published by the Daily Mail in the early hours of October 16, 2025. This is where the true story begins. Unlike the previous glossy, well-composed shots, these are raw, grainy, and emotionally explosive. They were taken with a long lens from a distance, giving them a voyeuristic and unsettling quality that screams unauthorized. The first image reportedly shows Hadid with her arms crossed, her body angled away from Cooper in a classic defensive posture, her expression visibly tense and drawn. A second, more damning photo, allegedly time-stamped at 3:42 p.m., captures Cooper with his hands raised, palms open, in a gesture of exasperation or pleading. His face, even in the low-resolution image, is contorted in frustration while Hadid looks down at the pavement, refusing to meet his gaze. Renowned body language expert Dr. Lillian Glass, analyzing the images for Vanity Fair, stated that their posture signaled a complete communication breakdown and deep emotional schism. She elaborated, "Look at the lack of mirroring. In all previous photos, they were a mirror image of each other, their gaits, their head tilts. Here they are in complete opposition. He is advancing, she is retreating. This isn't a discussion, it's a confrontation." The location is also critical. A nondescript side street in the West Village, far from their usual haunts and away from the typical celebrity press routes. This wasn't a planned photo opportunity. There were no designer clothes being showcased, no strategic branding in the background. This was an authentic moment of conflict, and its leak signifies a total and catastrophic loss of narrative control. This is the ultimate PR red flag, when the meticulously built facade cracks and the unfiltered reality bleeds through. It retroactively calls into question the authenticity of everything that came before it. So why now? Why would this carefully managed project implode at this specific moment? The timing is far from random and points directly to immense financial and career pressures converging on them both. A press release from Warner Brothers, dated October 10th, just 6 days before the fight, confirms that Bradley Cooper's next major film, an ambitious biopic titled Maestro's Echo, has just entered its crucial pre-Oscar campaign window. This is a period where a star's public image is scrutinized more than ever. A stable, high-profile romance is an incredibly powerful asset during award season, softening a serious actor's image and generating positive, lifestyle-focused headlines that keep them top of mind for Academy voters. A messy, public fight is the exact opposite. Simultaneously, a detailed report in Forbes in September highlighted that Gigi Hadid's fashion line, Guest in Residence, is preparing for a massive and costly European expansion set to launch in November. This initiative benefits enormously from the kind of elevated, A-list media coverage her relationship with the respected actor like Cooper provides. A feature in Vogue about their shared aesthetic vision is infinitely more valuable than 1,000 Instagram ads. The fight, therefore, occurred at a moment of maximum professional pressure. According to an anonymous source who gave a detailed account to US Weekly on October 17th, the argument was allegedly about the escalating demands of their schedules clashing with the relentless pressure to maintain a perfect public front for these upcoming campaigns. The source claimed Bradley wanted Gigi at 3 different industry events in 1 week, and she felt like a prop for his Oscar run. She's trying to be taken seriously as a founder, not just as a famous man's girlfriend. The leak wasn't just bad luck. It was a direct threat to 2 very expensive, very important career campaigns that were relying on the flawless stability of their public union. In the world of celebrity crisis management, the response to a disaster is often more revealing than the disaster itself. And the response here was a textbook case of panic. Within hours of the photos going viral, before the narrative could be set by outside speculation, the crisis PR playbook was activated. Page 6 published an article citing a source close to the couple who claimed they were simply having a passionate discussion about a personal family matter and that they remain deeply committed to each other. This is crisis PR 101. Downplay the severity, invent a vague but sympathetic context that makes outsiders feel intrusive, and aggressively reaffirm the relationship's stability. Famed crisis manager Alana Vance, who has no connection to the couple but commented on the situation to Variety, called this a standard containment strategy but a sloppy one. She explained the goal is to immediately flood the news cycle with a counter-narrative to dilute the impact of the negative photos. However, the speed and generic nature of the response suggest panic. A more confident team, one with a truly stable client, might have stayed silent, letting the story die down. This hasty textbook response reveals just how much was at stake and how terrified their teams were of the public seeing behind the curtain. Adding fuel to this fire, just 2 days later, the couple was photographed leaving the same restaurant from their very first candid photo op. But this time, as noted by multiple outlets, they looked stiff, their smiles forced, and they held hands in a way that looked more like a contractual obligation than genuine affection. It was a transparent attempt to recreate the old magic, but the spell had been broken. Ultimately, this incident forces us to reevaluate the very nature of their public courtship. Was it ever truly a private romance, or was it a strategic alliance from the very beginning? When you place the grainy fight photos at the end of the timeline, the earlier perfect pictures suddenly look less like candid moments of affection and more like well-executed marketing assets in a campaign that had a clear beginning, middle, and now a potential end. The laughter outside the restaurant, the shared glances at the farmer's market, the coordinated outfits, they all become data points in a calculated strategy to build a brand. This single, uncontrolled event acts as a key, unlocking the potential artifice of the entire narrative. The fight doesn't just suggest they might break up, it strongly suggests that the public entity we knew as Gigi and Bradley may have been a joint business venture from the very beginning, with clear deliverables and KPIs for both parties. It exposes the fragile, often invisible line between a celebrity's personal life and their professional brand, and shows how quickly one can poison the other when control is lost.
The illusion of perfection is profitable, but the unfiltered truth is a debt that always, eventually, comes due. In the end, the furious argument between Gigi Hadid and Bradley Cooper was far more than a private moment made public. It was the moment a carefully constructed PR narrative collided with the friction of human reality, and the entire facade crumbled under the pressure. We've seen how their early perfect photos established a marketable brand. We've dissected how the raw, unfiltered details of the fight shattered that image beyond repair. And we've connected the timing of this implosion directly to high-stakes career moves that depended on their storybook romance. The frantic, by-the-book damage control that followed only confirmed how much was on the line. The biggest takeaway isn't that famous people fight, but that the celebrity relationships we consume are often products, packaged and sold for our consumption. And this incident was a factory recall. When you see a moment that feels too real, it's usually because the marketing strategy has failed spectacularly. The next time a celebrity couple appears to be living a flawless fairy tale, it's essential to remember the invisible work, the immense pressure, and the strategic planning required to maintain that illusion. To see how this exact playbook has been used by other stars and how it almost always ends in the same kind of public explosion, you need to watch the next video in our Fresh Celebrity Tea playlist. It's the key to understanding the entire game. Click the screen now to see the pattern for yourself.